Thursday, August 16th, 2018, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. This morning I want to talk about risk management. Before I go further, I'd like to say that this is only for informational purposes. It's what I do personally, and that if you want to apply it to your actions in the markets, in investments, it's up to you. Recently, it's been very rough for precious metals investors and cryptocurrency investors. Those, of course, are the main, some of my main investments, or even in precious metals, if you'd like to say, they're the, precious metals is what I hold my money in, so I wouldn't even consider it an investment. It's my currency. Yeah. And before I do that, of course, I'm going to go look at what the markets are doing this morning. It's 8:30 a.m. London time. Personally, it's really difficult to call tops or bottoms in markets. But I woke up this morning, I turned my computer on, and I looked at the platform where I look at gold, and I saw that the low was 1160, and I thought, well, that must be a mistake. But I checked the charts, and I put on the 10-minute chart, and just after gold, after midnight London, which is about an hour after the COMEX reopens in the 6 p.m. New York, gold dumped really sharply. Didn't go all at once, like sometimes it does. It wasn't in a matter of seconds, but let's say from around midnight 40 here in London to around 1:40, so in about an hour, it dropped from 1175 all the way down to almost, 1160. So it was a huge drop, but just as quickly as it dropped, it almost quickly rebounded. And right now we're at 1177. So is this a capitulation bottom? I don't know. We could go further down. A few weeks ago, I looked at some retracement levels of gold from the low in 2015, December 2015, and the high in 2016, actually, at 1375, sorry, which is the move since that low, from bottom to top. And I had around 1211, this 50% retracement, that move. And then I said that if we broke that level, we could go down to 1170 or thereabouts, and that would be the other Fibonacci retracement. So today, it's one of those days where you had like a capitulation low. So is this the bottom? Well, we need to look at other currencies, and I consider gold a currency, of course. And if you look at the British pound, back in October of 2016, a few months after Brexit, there's one day there. I think it was October. Let's have a look what day exactly it was. It was October 7th, where the pound just collapsed overnight, pretty much like Asian hours as well, like we saw today with gold. It went from like 127 to the dollar, and it dropped all the way down to 117. And that was the bottom of the pound all the way till April this year, when it topped at 143. So is this the same kind of technical move? Well, time will tell. So let's back to the market, see what we're doing right now. So spot gold right now is 1176, up 2 from last night's close. Silver is 1458, up 15, so up 1%. The low has been 1432. So silver also dumped when gold dumped earlier overnight, but not as much, I would have said. The Dow is up 106 at 25,256, up 0.4%. S&P is up 7, 0.25%. NASDAQ is up 0.5% at 73.86, up 33. The currencies are continuing to rebound a little bit here. The pound is now 127.08. The low overnight is 126.84. It's only up about 12 pips, though, 0.1%. Euro 113.66, up 0.2%. And the dollar is unchanged against the yen, 110.81. It seems like the dollar-yen relationship and gold is kind of broken right now. Yesterday, the dollar dropped quite a bit against the yen, I noticed. And despite that, gold was hit hard. What about the, let's have a Chinese currency. Chinese currency is actually, the dollar's down 0.75%. So the dollar is down 500 pips at 6.89. So the dollar is coming off against the yuan. Crude oil is still fairly low right now, 64.50. Yesterday was a bad day for all commodities. People are getting concerned. I know Turkey's kind of rebounded. It's very volatile. The lira now is at 580. The dollar is at 580 lira. It got up as high as 725, I think. We've heard news that Qatar in the Middle East is bailing Turkey out. But don't be deceived. There's a lot of other hotspots coming up. Brazil, the currency there is still very weak. It's at almost up to 4, the dollar to the real. South Africa has been under pressure as well. And the other thing I noticed, and I want to talk a little bit about, is the Italian government bond market. That also, the yield there is up to the highs we saw. Let's see. Yeah, that was end of May when the 10-year yield spiked all the way to almost 340. And it's still well below the 2012, 2011 highs of 7.5 when we had the European debt crisis. But as you can see now, on a closing basis, we are at the highest level we've seen this year. Because even though in May we went up to 340, it didn't close. It closed around 310, and right now we're at 317. So Italy, I would say, is much bigger than Turkey. So there you go. It's like an analogy of the Dutch boy trying to cover the holes in the dikes and all the water's coming through. So Turkey has gone off the radar a little bit, but now Italy is back on, and Italy is a much bigger problem. So I spoke earlier a week or two ago about the fact that the Italian government now is going to come up with a new budget, and it could be a problem for the EU. The budget will probably come out after the summer holidays. You already saw a comment by the economic minister in Italy saying, basically blackmailing the ECB, saying they need to keep Italian yields under control, i.e. bail the government there out, or else the euro project could disintegrate. So that's what's happening out there in terms of markets. Back to the topic of risk management. I have spoken many times in the past. People said, what have you got in terms of your holdings? And I've said, well, I've been buying gold and silver since 2002. I've gone through frustrating periods. Yes, right in the beginning when I invested, 2002 to 2006, gold did fairly well in dollars, but in pounds it wouldn't move that much, and then all of a sudden it went. And then in 2008, even though there is a crisis, gold dropped from above 1,000 to like 700. Silver as well dropped quite a bit from, I don't remember as very well the top where that was, maybe 25, 30, not sure. And then it dropped to below 10. But I sat through those things, and it's not nice to sit through those moves. But once the market bottoms and it starts going up, it's a good feeling, and you learn to go through those periods. And why is risk management important? Well, because most people who lose a lot of money in putting their money in gold or silver or doing investments, they sometimes do it through leverage. And what do I mean by that? Well, by borrowing money they don't have. And if they have to pay a loan for that money that they borrow, they won't have as much to pay it back because their holdings has gone down. And that's why I encourage people, and that's what I do. That's my philosophy. It's very conservative. I invest. Even though I don't consider gold and silver investment, I actually consider them a saving. But anyway, I just I save or invest as much as I can afford to lose. I'll do it in an amount that won't force me when these kinds of market moves happen. It won't force me to get out of that and maybe lose money. And I just sit through it. I've gone through it before. I went through it also in 2013 when gold and silver dropped a lot. And it's been frustrating since then. I have bought some more gold and silver since then. I consider leaving my savings and wealth in fiat money, financing the criminal banking cartel. So do you really want to finance them? Do you want to really give these guys an unsecured loan? Because that's what it is when you put your money in the bank. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. You can also follow me on DTube, Steemit, and Twitter. And you can contribute to the channel if you think I've added value. There's some links below in the description for donations. I also have a Monaco 64 store. You can buy things like End the Fed mugs, End the Fed t-shirts, and other merchandise. I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.